materials which is required to cover the box are: first we need two A3 size white paper sheets. Then we need a old shoe box. You can see that this one is the old one which I have already at my home. Then we need some Fevicol, a pencil and a scissor to cover this shoe box into a lap kit. So our lab kit box is ready now, and now we will put the items inside this by performing one by one different activities from different chapters. So the materials which we require for this activity are: firstly we will need a black marker, then a paint color, over here I have a brush and a nail with a pointed tip, a scissor, a glass full of water, a bottle, it's a plastic bottle which I have already used, and a tape dispenser. So our first step is to cut this paper from it so that we can see the markings clearly. Like this. We will take an empty plastic bottle. So now our next step is to mix a color into this water. So now our next step is to mark some points over the water bottle with the help of a black marker. So I have decided that I am going to keep one point over here, then second one over here and the third one over here. So I am going to mark it with the help of this black marker. So now what is going to be our next step is we are going to take this water bottle and this nail, and with the end tip of this nail we are just going to heat it over the flame, and we are going to mark some tiny holes over these 3 points so that it can be used as our base to take out the water from this water bottle. So now we are going to heat this nail and we are going to make some holes over these 3 places which we have marked. So over here you all could see that I have marked the first, second and third points over here, and these 3 are of same in length. So now what we are going to do next is going to take the sellotape and block this holes with the help of it so that our water doesn't start flowing as if we just open it. So that's why we are going to apply the tapes over these 3 holes first. So over here what we have to do next is we have to place a stool, and on that we have to place a water bottle and we have to fill it with the water which I have already prepared earlier, the blue water which I have shown it to you all, and we are going to fill this with the help of water and remove this tape later on. So now we will just fill the whole water bottle with the blue colored water, and now we are just going to remove the tape and we are going to fill the water bottle again and again and see the results of this activity. So over this we could see that the point number A, which was at the bottom, reaches the water till the end. The point number B is at the second number, and the point number third, it could only reach to small distance. So hence we come to a conclusion that emerging water goes farther more away from the lower hose, and this is just because of the pressure of the water increases with an increase in the depth of hole. Hence the water pressure at A point increases with the height of water column above it. So after doing our first activity, we have got some materials in our this lab kit. Like firstly, it's a plastic water bottle, then it's a tape. Over here, it's a small nail, a scissor, and a paint color. So this was our material which I used for the activity number 1, and I have kept it in my lab kit. So now let us move on to the activity number 2. So our activity number 2 is related to sliding friction and static friction. So the materials which we required for this activity are, firstly over here we will need a paint color box, and it is going to be like a weight for our activity. Then we need some erasers which will act as the weight, and then over here it's Fevicol, a pencil, some drawing pins, a small piece of cardboard, some yarn, and a plastic cup. So let us just get started with our activity. So the first step is to take this plastic cup, and now what we are going to do, with the help of the yarn, we are going to bind this plastic cup so that it stays in a straight position, and we are also going to bind the same color box with the help of same yarn. So as you all could see over here that I have just attached this yarn to this plastic cup, and to its another end I have taken this poster color box and I have attached it to that. Earlier I was having the different one, but that was a little bit lighter, so I attached it to a heavy one. And now what we are going to do, we are just going to take the pencil and some drawing pins along with the small piece of cardboard, and we are going to make a setup with that so that the pencil doesn't move anywhere and it rotates on its axis only. So as you all could see that I have taken this pencil and adjusted it in the middle of this cardboard, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some drawing pins and use it over the sides of the cardboard so that our pencil doesn't move anywhere, and it will just rotate on its axis but will not move it from its place. So we are just going to block the ways for the pencil from the sides of the cardboard. So over here you all could see that I have just adjusted all the drawing pins over this single piece of cardboard, and now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to insert this pencil between these drawing pins so that it can rotate in its axis but do not move it from its place. So now we are just going to assemble whole setup, and I'm going to show you that how does it looks. So this is our complete setup, and now what we are going to do, we are just going to pour this weights into this glass and see the results. Okay, so let us start. So firstly I have taken first razor, put it in the cup, but there's no change in the box, it doesn't move from its place. So let us take the second one, still no change. Third, no change. Now we are gonna put the fourth one. No change in it. Let us put the fifth one now. No movement. Sixth. Not enough. Seventh one. Eighth. Oh, it actually started moving. So you could guess that we have poured down 8 erasers on that cup and it started moving. And when we poured more than it, I have put a 10 over it now and it started moving from its place. So you all could see that we require at least 8 erasers to move this box from its place. So now what we are going to do, we are going to try the second part of this activity. So over here, as we have just seen that we required at least 8 erasers to move this box from its place, and at 10 erasers it moves completely from its place. So now what we are going to do, we are going to just pour it down these 10 erasers in the cup again, and we are going to take out one by one erasers from it and see that whether the box is still moving or it becomes static at its place. So let us do the second part now. So now what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to remove the erasers one by one and see whether this box still moves or it remains at its place. So let us just start. So I have removed first eraser. Oh, it moves a little bit. Okay, let us move the second one. Still moves a little bit. Third one doesn't move. Fourth one, no change, it remains at a place. Fifth, okay. So over here we all could see that it just stops moving when we removed more than 2 erasers. So we have seen that at least 8 erasers it is required to pull this box from its place and make it into a motion. So now let us come on to the conclusion of this activity. In the first case, when this box just begins to slide, the force of the friction is limiting the value of force of static friction. Once this box begins to slide, the friction that exists is sliding friction. Now if we look at the second case, so when we remove 3 erasers from this cup, so what happened? This box still keeps on sliding and moves to the other end of the tabletop with almost same speed. It shows that sliding friction is slightly less than the static friction in this activity. So now let us move on to the activity number 3. So after doing my second activity, you could see that some more items are there in my lab kit, such as a poster color box, the yarn, a plastic cup, some erasers and a pencil. So the materials which we required for this activity number 3 are, firstly we will need a glass, which is a transparent glass over here. Then we will need any 2 coins. I have taken 2 coins over here, and then we will also require a glass of water. So let us just get started with our process of this activity. So our first step is to take a coin and place it inside this glass tumbler, which is transparent, and we are just going to place it at the center of this glass, and then we are just going to pour some water. Make sure you don't fill it fully. You should just make it to the half of this glass and keep the coin as well in the bottom of this glass. And then what we will do, we will keep the another coin alongside this glass like this, and now we will see. So what do we observe about the position of the coin in the beaker compared with the coin kept alongside the beaker? We saw that the coin in the beaker appears to be raised up with respect to the coin alongside the beaker, and this is just because of the phenomena of refraction of light. So let us move on to the activity number 4 now. So after doing my activity number 3, there are some more friends who are joining this club, and here are the 2 coins which I have used in activity number 3, and these also goes into this lab kit. Of course I can't add the glasses over this, so that's why I have not put in it over here. So for doing activity number 4, you will just require a transparent glass and a pencil. So let us see the procedure for activity number 4. So firstly, we have to fill this transparent glass with water, and now we are just going to dip a pencil inside it at 45 degree, and the 45 degree should be to the surface of a glass. Okay, so like this you have to keep the sharpest point at the bottom at 45 degree. So what do we observe about the appearance and shape of this pencil over this 45 degree? We see that the pencil appears to be bent near the surface of the water, and the phenomena which is responsible for it is refraction of light. So now let us move on to the activity number 5. So as in the activity number 4, we just required a glass and a pencil. So pencil is already there in my lab kit, and the glass I cannot keep it over this. So activity number 4 items are also there in this lab kit box. So the materials which we require for this 5th activity are, firstly we will require a tape, then here it's a balloon, and third is scissor. We will also require a plastic bottle for doing this activity. So our first step is to take this plastic water bottle and cut it from both the sides till this length. I'm choosing this length, you can choose any of the length through which you required, and you need to cut it from both the sides with the help of a scissor. So as you all could see that I have cutted this water bottle from both the ends with the help of a scissors, and now what I'm gonna do next is I'm just going to take this balloon, cut its neck and stretch it over this and make it to its plain side over this water bottle. So as you all could see over here that I have stretched this balloon to one end of this bottle and cover it with the tape as well from the edges so that it doesn't move anywhere, and we could see the result of this activity very carefully. So now what I'm gonna do next is I have taken over here some rice, as you all could see, and now I am just going to keep these rice over this balloon like this, and now I will shout from the other end of this can, you could say, and see whether these rice show some differentiate in the movement or not, whether they move or not. From this side I'm just gonna shout it and see what's the reaction of these rice over it. So as you all could see that just as shouted from other end, these rice grains started jumping up and down. So why does it happen? It is just because that the sound vibrations makes the rice jump up and down. So after doing my 5th activity, I've also inserted this plastic bottle cutting over this, which also has a balloon in it, and along with it I have also inserted some rice in a packet, and I have also kept it in my lab kit box. So now let's move on to our next activity. So now let us start with our activity number 6. So the materials which we required are, firstly over here we will require a tape, then a convex lens which I have taken from a specs, then concave lens, 2 elastic rubber bands, 2 brand new erasers of same size and dimensions, a scissor, and we will also require some examples to test it with the concave and the convex lens. So that I'm gonna show you later on. So let us just get started with the activity. So let us just get started with our first step. So in the first step, what we will do, I have this convex lens which I have already taken from my mother's specs, and I also have a double concave lens over here, and its focal length is 10 centimeter, you all could see over here, and I was having it already at my home, so I'm using this concave lens. And now I don't have the stand of these two at my home, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make the homemade stand with the help of some erasers, some elastic rubber bands and tape. So let us see how to make it. So firstly we will take two brand new erasers of same dimensions and size, and we will require a tape, scissor and elastic rubber bands. So let us see. So our first step over here is to take two brand new erasers of same size and dimensions and remove their outer covers. Now we will just bind them with the help of these rubber bands, as you all could see. You just have to bind both the erasers togetherly with the help of two elastic rubber bands, as you all could see. So after this step, what we have to do, we have to take some tape and paste it on the edges of both the erasers. Make sure you don't paste it in between, the gap between the two erasers, otherwise they will stick together and your lens holder will not be made successfully. So you have to leave some space between them like this. So as you all could see that our lens holder is ready, and now I'm just going to insert the concave and convex lens in it. So you all could see that concave lens is able to be there, and it's very nice holding this concave lens and as well as the convex lens, as you all could see over here. So as you all could see over here that I'm going to take some examples to which I'm going to test concave and convex lens characteristics. So firstly I have this text written over here, which is, "Hello everyone, my name is Sejal Adhikari, I study in class 8th B." So now I'm going to test it with concave lens first, and then I'm also going to test it with the help of convex lens. So as you all could see the result over here with the help of concave lens, that it appears to be very small, and when I move it more far away, so even we are not able to see it clearly, and we are also not able to read it. So in the concave lens, we are not able to see the text clearly, and the text is small in size. And when we just look at with the help of this convex lens, so we all could see that the text is a little bit enlarged, and we could see it clearly even though if I move it far away from its place. So this was the difference between the concave lens and the convex lens. I'm going to try it with one more example. So the second example is the wall hanging clock, and I'm just going to try it with the concave lens and then the convex lens. So when I place the concave lens in front of my camera, you could see that the image shown by the concave lens of this wall hanging clock is very small, and you could see the wider view of my whole room. You could see the curtains, the tube light and the clock as well, but whereas I just remove it, you could only see the clock. And let's see the result of the same clock with the help of convex lens. So in the case of convex mirror, you all could see that the image is enlarged. So after doing our activity number 6, the materials which I'm gonna add it to this lab kit box are, it's a concave mirror, then over here I have convex lens, which both I'm gonna place it over this because both are required, and then I'm also gonna place the rubber stand which we make it, as whenever we are using the concave and convex lens we need this rubber stand. So I'm also gonna add this to my lab kit, and at last I'm gonna also add a exemplary text which I've written on a piece of paper, so that whenever we are doing this experiment with concave and convex lens, we have something to test it over. So now this box is completed. Let us just close this now. Thank you.